Okay. Anyway, so starting. Let's start with our topic for today. So, hi everyone to those who are here for the first time and those who are regulars. Welcome, welcome. The topic that we're going to talk about today, is about visual communication and how it can help land your messages a little more clearly. When I say visual communication, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? The first thing that comes to your mind is maybe artists, maybe something very creative, something maybe very artistic, maybe like a complicated painting or something, right? But when I talk about visual communication, it is something that we all experience and we all use in our day to day lives without even knowing it. Let me give you some examples of visual communication. For example, when you are at the traffic signal, right? So you have these different traffic lights. You have red, amber, and green, and you know exactly what you need to do. Now imagine if those traffic lights weren't colors and they were actually words. Imagine the amount of chaos it would create when it's like, it's written like stop, wait, go. So it would be so chaotic, right? So, and also, when you talk about visual communication, it's so universal. Like, even if you travel to a foreign country, you know exactly what you need to do when you're at a traffic signal. You know what color means what, amber means wait, and green means go. So that's how universally interpreted visual communication can be. Or, for example, when you are at a shopping mall, okay, you're at a shopping mall and you really need to go to the toilet. And that, the toilet sign of male and female, that is so universal that you know exactly where you need to go, right? I'm not talking of those fancy restaurants which make those complicated signs and symbols, which make you like figure out which one is for male and which one is for female. And make you use your last two brain cells when you really have to go to the toilet. I'm not talking of those. So that kind of signifies that visual communication needs to be simple to be effective. So these are like just some examples that, I quoted to let you know that we use visual communication without even knowing that we do. And our brains are wired to process pictures better than words. For me, if I would talk about my personal experience, visual communication has almost been like a universal translator. So I think I've talked about this particular example before as well. So when I first moved to Hong Kong, I didn't really know anybody, and I learned it the very, very hard way that visiting a place as a tourist and actually moving there are like two different things. So I very well remember that when I had moved here, I felt so lonely, I felt so lost, I felt so out of place, and I felt so ostracized. Like it was very uncomfortable. Hi, Ruth. Thank you so much for joining. I remember you from the last live. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you can hear me. So, we just got started on the topic visual communication and how it can really make your messages land. And I was just giving some examples of how, visual communication is used in our lives without us even knowing. I'm actually very curious. Can you all hear me? Ruth, let me know if you can hear me. Okay. So moving on, these are like, okay, so I was talking about the example of how visual communication is like, oh, great. Thank you so much. I was wondering because I was kind of wondering about the sounds. Thank you for letting me know, Ruth. Great. Good morning to you. I was talking about how visual communication was like a universal translator for me when I moved to Hong Kong. So when I moved to Hong Kong, I didn't know anybody. I was feeling very lost, possibly very ostracized as well. And that was a really, really dark time. But then at that point in time, I was making a lot of sketches of Hong Kong. So I would go to my neighborhood and I would sketch my neighborhood and different places in Hong Kong. And one thing led to another. And within a year's time, I think I had my first solo exhibition in Hong Kong. So from being like absolute nobody to not knowing anybody to actually having my first solo exhibition in Hong Kong. And you won't believe, before the exhibition even opened, like we were just prepping the setting and we were, putting up the pieces and everything. Even before the exhibition actually opened, the first piece was sold even before the exhibition opened. It was picked up by this couple who were traveling to Hong Kong from Taiwan, but the lady was from Hong Kong and she was living in Taiwan or something. And she picked up the iconic lion dance, which is a very famous culturally significant thing of Hong Kong. So she picked up that piece because it reminded her of her childhood in Hong Kong. So if you just look at it, it just goes to show that art really has no barriers and art really has no languages. It can transcend any and every barrier. So imagine the connection she felt of something that I do in Hong Kong. And I think that was a very full circle moment for me to believe in the power of visual communication. And this translates really well into my day job as well as a native English teacher. So I teach English to second language speakers. So basically, whose first language is not English. So their first language is Chinese, and they do find it very challenging to understand English. And when I was teaching in primary schools, I would also have a lot of kids who have special education needs. So probably they have ADHD, autism, or something even more serious in the spectrum. And their problem was actually two-pronged. Like one, they could not understand English very well, and two, they also had a lot of trouble managing their emotions and actually staying in control in class. So their problem was two pronged. And the usual reading, writing, or talking a lot to them would really overstimulate them. So what I would do is I would reach out to them through art. So, for example, if we have done a story or I've taught them a story or something of that sort, I would actually ask them to draw their favorite character from the story. Or I would ask them to draw a different ending to the story. Hi, Anjali. Thank you for joining. We just started, and I was talking about how visual communication is a part of our daily life. And also, I was giving examples of how it really fits in my life as well. So, I was talking about my experience being a native English teacher here and how I use art to even reach out to students who have special education needs. So these students, when I reach out to them in that manner, they are part of the class. They feel like they belong in the class because they are doing something that everyone else is also doing. So it's a great way to reach out to them, to engage with them without overstimulating them. Not every teacher or school understands it because a lot of them would ask me that why are students drawing in the English class? But it's a great way for me to reach out to them, and also make them understand the story in a language that they would feel comfortable in knowing. So art and visual communication has helped me out there. There's also something called as the picture superiority effect. What that means is, it's so as per research, 65% of the information is understood or received well and processed well when it's accompanied with an image, as compared to only 10% when it's all text. Okay. And I think this really fits well in my current example as well. So currently I'm teaching secondary students, again, second language speakers. So secondary students who are very weak. So they're part of the remedial class. Now, I think the challenges double here again because one, they're in that age, they're like 14, 15-year-olds. So they're in that age where they don't want to listen to the teacher. That kind of, they already have like an attitude problem. Secondly, they don't understand the language at all. And the content has also leveled up a little bit. So it's quite challenging for them to understand. So today I was supposed to teach them, different kinds of emotions. Now they know the basic emotions that they learn or they pick up in primary school, right? Like your basic happy, sad, angry. These are just basic emotions that they pick up and the vocabulary that they pick up. But today I was supposed to teach them emotions like embarrassed or frustrated or annoyed. Now these are some things that they probably know in their language, but they really don't understand or they really cannot decipher that in English. So what I did was, so I run this, illustrated journaling workshops online, and I have something called as a emotions bank. I give it as a handout for my participants in the second session. Yeah, second session. So I use that emotions bank to actually teach them these emotions. Because if I were to explain something they find difficult in English, that would have been futile. So I use this emotion bank to actually show them the picture of someone who's very embarrassed that I had drawn. So I had drawn an embarrassed face and I show them, okay, so this is what embarrassed looks like. So now they can add two and two together. And it made such a difference in their understanding, in their comprehension, in their interest to actually wanting to know what it means. So for me, if I cannot reach out to them in English, I have the option of using another language. That is the language of visual communication, which really helps me in my line of work. So this really solidifies the belief that visual communication or visual language is like a skill. It's almost like the way you learn to speak, the way you learn to write. So it's actually a skill that you can develop. And that's exactly what I do in my illustrated journaling workshops. So I host these online illustrated journaling workshops, which makes visual communication and visual language development accessible for anyone and everyone. So whether you are a teacher who is looking to expand your language ability to actually reach out to your students, or probably you want to make better presentations that make your messages pop, or if you're just someone who wants to document their life a little more intentionally, a little more, interestingly, I think it's a good one or a good skill set to pick up. So, for example, I had one of the participants tell me that, written journaling can only be so much, like when you're writing about your feelings, it can only take you to an extent. After a point in time, it feels very boring to write about the same problem again and again. So, in that case, illustrated journaling really, really helps in actually making your journaling a little more interesting, making the whole process more interesting. And when it's more interesting, the chances of you doing it are definitely higher. So, my illustrated journaling sessions are generally done in 4 sessions. And I want to give you like 4 key takeaways for you to start developing your visual language today. Okay. And these are takeaways from my own workshop. So, the first one that I would say is to embrace the art of observing to find out your personal tastes. I cannot emphasize this enough because if you don't know your taste, you will never know how to develop your own visual language. So, a very simple way to do that is to start noticing what catches your eye. Which brand logo do you like? Or what's the dominant color in your wardrobe? Or how is the furniture in your house arranged? Hi, Saurabh. Thank you so much for joining. We're kind of midway. And I kind of gave a little examples of how visual communication has, helped me with my teaching or with my, art exhibitions in Hong Kong or even adjusting in Hong Kong. So I have just given those examples and we have moved on to some key takeaways for you to develop your visual language right today, like starting today. So I was doing the first one. So I was talking about the art of observation and developing your personal taste. So look for certain things that catch your eye. Maybe what color is your car? Or what color is your phone? What style of cover do you like? Do you like a maximalist cover or do you like a very minimal cover? So these are all hints and cues for you to understand your taste. I could very well actually teach you my style, but then that is an acquired language. And the chances of you using that acquired language is very less. In contrary to when you have developed your own personal style, your own personal visual communication language, the chances of you using that are 10x for sure. So start today by observing what catches your eye, what catches your attention, what style do you prefer? Are you a minimalist or are you a maximalist? And these hints are all there in your environment. It's very easy for you to observe if you want to observe. The second thing that I definitely recommend is to try to express your emotions visually. I cannot emphasize how much fun it is. What I mean by this is like if you can start documenting the way you feel, through visuals, I think it makes documenting life and other things also very interesting. So there is a reason why they say that a picture is worth 1,000 words. So these don't have to be very complicated. Like you can literally use a triangle to make the top of the house and a rectangle for making the body. So you can make it as simple as possible. Or maybe your face could just be a circle, two dots, a little bit of a line and a small mouth. So it can literally be as simple as that. But when you start doing this, you start thinking in that language. Honestly, I almost use. Oh, in my workshop, I also teach you how to make a visual version of you, and that becomes like your personal style. So I use a visual version of me even in my workshop posters or in my presentation. And I kid you not when I tell you this, that some people have told me that, oh, I joined this workshop because the poster looked really fun. So it works really well for the kind of work that I am doing, which is to look which needs to look very fun, interesting, very accessible. So it really helps in what I'm doing. So I'm sure it'll help in yours as well. The other thing that I would say is the third tip that I would say is, when you start on this journey, try to keep it very simple, meaning you need to simplify so that it's more, how do I say, so that it reduces the friction in you actually doing it. Hi, Austin. Thank you for joining. We are kind of discussing tips or key takeaways on how you can develop your visual language today. Okay. You kind of missed the examples that we just discussed, but I hope you can catch up. So, yeah, I was talking about simplifying to document your everyday life. So, in my third session, ideally, what I do is I teach people how to do basic poses. So, for example, sitting, walking, running. These are basic poses. Now, poses can be as complicated as you want to make them, because there's a lot to do with, the way you draw the anatomy and all of those things. But if you can just simplify it, it makes it more accessible for doing it. And you can have, like a visual bank. So, I'll show you my visual bank. This little notebook is my visual bank. So I hope you can see this. So I have like these emotions that I have, documented here. So it's very easy for me to actually refer back to my little diary. So for example, if I'm making a spread or if I'm drawing something, I have a ready reference of different poses and different actions and different emotions that I can just pick and choose from this. Like I use this. Yeah, Austin, we're talking about tips and key takeaways to develop your visual language now. Okay. Yeah. So you can actually literally have like a bank like this. Like you have a dictionary of words. You could have like this little dictionary of your personal style of making visual communication in your own language. Okay. So that's the third tip I would like to give. And the fourth tip that I'll give you is, think of the concept first and details later. Okay. Thanks, Anjali. Thank you. Yeah, actually, this book is really my go-to thing for, choosing. So I don't really have to think. So when I make a whole bank like this, I can just pick and choose from that whenever I want to like put it on a poster, or maybe if I'm designing something, I just need to open up this and I just need to look through. So I don't have to rethink and redraw every time. I can just use it as a ready reference. So yeah, I kind of help you develop this kind of visual bank for you in my workshops. So it's very accessible and it's very useful for you to use anytime. And you don't have to feel that friction that, oh my God, I need to look for this pose. I need to see this emotion. I don't know how to draw this and all that. So it just simplifies the whole process. The last one that I would say is, think concept first. Like think of the concept and then the details. Don't complicate it. For example, if you want to make maybe a spread or something on a page, think of the main concept or the theme that you want to talk about. So choose that, and then you choose 4 to 5 points around it. You choose just like 4 to 5 points around it. Don't overcomplicate it with details. So once you have that down, then you can probably expand on it like a little bit more, and you can like see what else you want to add. But first, keep it very simple. Concept first, and some points around it. So I think in my workshop, what I usually do is I'll give you like tips to actually figure out the layout of how things should look, whether it's your presentation or whether it's your journal spread. What's going to make your ideas pop? What kind of layout would look even more interesting to the viewer? Or maybe which colors can you use that will go together? Or how many colors you should be using? So these are just small tips and tricks that I'll share with you in the workshop, which can really help you develop that language. And I'm saying this from a personal experience because when I did a certificate course in art and design, especially the design module. That design module was so fabulous that after the design module, it changed the way I looked at the world. Like, you will not believe that I could see design in everything. The pamphlets that come, in your mailbox, maybe the cover of something. You start noticing everything so starkly. Like, I think my friends even tease me that even if there's a difference in the font, I can make it out because that's how you develop that eye for it. So once you have that visual sense, it helps you a lot in different things. You really understand why probably a presentation doesn't look good, or why this particular layout won't look good. So this is just like an acumen, or this is a skill that you can develop and actually use and apply it to almost every part of your life. So yeah, these are like my 4 takeaways that I would definitely recommend you to start developing your visual language now. And definitely, I would also like to extend a very warm invitation for whoever would like to join my illustrated journaling workshops. We're starting with a new batch this August, in August. So 9th of August is going to be the first session. If you're interested to join, please let me know. You can always DM me. You can direct message me. I'll also be posting the details so you know all the details. The first session is free. And I really judge. You do, right? Like, oh, see, okay, Anjali has an amazing point. She says that you do really judge probably a restaurant or a menu depending on their design. Like, if the design is bad, you know that they have bad taste. So yeah, Anjali, I completely do that as well. Yeah, I mean, it's subconscious, right? Like, once you are tuned to that kind of thinking, you kind of judge. Like, maybe if someone's PowerPoint is too wordy, you know that that person is not thinking visually, right? So yeah, so coming back to the illustrated journaling workshops, I'm starting a new batch in August. So 9th of August is the first session, which is a free session. The second set, and then the remaining 3 sessions are paid. So it would be a great time for you to join in and also develop your visual language. Because let me tell you, the first batch of students, they attended all the 4 sessions, and they're still using those skills to document their life or probably in their work. And these are the skills that they have picked up in 4 sessions. And now it's more like a lifelong skill that they would be using. So, Anthony, you're a little late to join. I kind of missed most of the things, but I think you can catch up. So yeah, so let me know if you are interested to join, because I still see my first batch of students using those skills to date and enjoying documenting their life or using it in their work setting, and enjoying using visual communication. So it's a great way to be understood. It's a great way to be remembered, because nobody likes someone who is not visually trained to convey messages more effectively. So if you are interested to join in, definitely let me know. And I'll see you in the live next Thursday. So I do lives every Thursday, and I hope to see you in the next one. If you do have any questions, please feel free to message me. And thanks, Ruth. Thank you so much for joining and giving me your time. And I'll see you next Thursday with another live with topics related to creativity, communication, and wellness. Until next Thursday, see you. Bye. Thank you so much for joining. See you.